And with Paul Merton tonight as a controversial broadcaster who once said, "I know how transient fame is. I know that after I stop doing Kilroy, I'll be forgotten and not missed." So please welcome Robert Thingamy Doodah. Paul and Robert, this is for you.
You know, it's Gaddafi getting off a plane, that's him shaking hands with somebody. It may not even be his hand, it may be somebody behind him sticking his hand through. And that's a letter to Blair, your Middle East policy is doomed, says diplomats, proving I can read out loud.
It's Colonel Gaddafi's historic visit to Brussels. What did he have to say?
We have abandoned all our weapons of mass destruction and they're now gone and we are now sort of like friends of the West.
But we might go back to terrorism.
Did he say that?
He did say we might go back to terrorism if you don't treat us very nicely and give us lots of subsidies.
He declared Libya was determined and committed to playing a leading role in achieving world peace, unless, of course, we're obliged by any evil to go back to the days when we'd put explosive belts around our beds.
Beds!
Beds, if you please. What does that mean?
It's one way of getting up in the morning, isn't it?
Where did he stay when he was in Brussels?
In that green outside tent, which was fashioned exactly like the one he had in Tripoli.
Actually, it's just like Paul's shirt. The actual wallpaper.
If you look at that tent, you'll see there's a shirt-shaped hole in the side of it.
So on to round two, and having been a sports presenter for 35 years, it's no surprise they've asked me to host a special round on the arts. We'll gradually reveal a heavily pixelated image, so buzz in when you know what that means and what the story is. Here we go with the first picture. Fingers on buzzers, please.
Ah, this is Des Lynam in Lego form.
No.
Have you ever been done in Lego?
No. Do you think I should be?
The night's still young. But we can't get it from that, can we?
No, we better see a little bit more.
I like the music. This is the Wagnerian singer who was trapped by a giant spider's web. Presumably, the only opera story this week that I remember is the English National Opera. They've been advised not to call each other darling, because it might lead to sort of...
Sexual harassment.
Beg your pardon?
Yeah, that.
I've got to do the show first. Nice of you to ask, though. You can put your hand on my knee during the odd one out round. So it's about not calling people darling or love, you know. But actors do this because they can never remember anybody's names.
You're quite right. An E&O spokesperson put it, whilst it may be acceptable between friends, it would be thought of very differently if the term is used by a senior colleague and accompanied by a wink.
I see what the ladies mean.
Happy with it?
The silver fox.
Not you. Ian and Marcus, your four are Rebecca Luce, Claire Short, Beverly Hughes, and Robert Kilroy-Silk.
Only one of them is eating flies. I think this is a question about being sacked. Claire Short resigned,
But slightly too late.
sort of after the war.
Well, yeah, and sort of a long time after Robin Cook, when it might have made a difference, you daft.
You're on the right sort of line.
Beverly Hughes resigned, but Robert Kilroy-Silk also resigned.
So?
Rebecca Luce was fired, everyone else resigned.
Well, the answer is that they all blame their PAs for their own public embarrassment, except Rebecca Luce, who blamed her bosses, the Beckhams. Happy with that?
No, I didn't blame anybody. I explained it was a secretary. Pushed the wrong button.
As long as you're shifting the blame sideways.
Yes.
Why did the article cause so much trouble second time around?
Context.
Someone read it.
I made a mistake of not saying in the last 500 years. If I'd said if they haven't done anything and contributed anything to civilization in the last 500 years, then there wouldn't have been a single inaccuracy in the column.
Right. And should you have said Arab states rather than just generic Arabs?
Yes,
you think that would have been less offensive?
Yeah, absolutely.
Saying individually they were all worthless?
No. Well,
you think that might have annoyed a few people?
It got under some people's skins, yeah. But then you know that, no, we don't really mean that, do we?
Don't we, me?
What? I'm trying to draw you in as an ally.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No, I'm not as bright as him, but don't try me either.
When did they come up with the pendulum then and the compass? And
They didn't, actually.
didn't they?
No. Most of those were...
They did on my card here.
Well, that's fine.
Shakespeare hasn't done much for 500 years either, has he? What's been your contribution, Robert?
Trying to keep...
When you're not doing your show, what's been your contribution? Say in the last 20 years. When you weren't doing that crap show, what was your contribution?
He was an MP,
I was
wasn't
an
he?
MP.
Are you too fat to walk? Don't phone us. Have you had a psychic experience involving a budgie and a motorbike? Give us a ring. Now, I believe you're too thick to feed yourself, you fat
I changed the law.
In what
Lots
way?
of laws.
Give us one.
One.
No, give us 5.
No, I'll give you one.
No, lots can
I'll give you
5.
one. I'll
Got
give
it.
you one. I exempted war widows' pension from income tax.
Oh, that's
Cool.
good.
That's good.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a nice thing to do. But
Yeah.
did you invent
Have
falafel?
you done anything like that, Martin?
Falafel.
No.
They invented that. There you go.
Claire Short recently blamed her secretary for failing to declare all her earnings in the Register of Members' Interests. According to The Telegraph, her PA claimed earnings from broadcasting in the last 3 months were nil. Untrue in Claire's case, but spot on for you, eh, Robert?
Thanks, Des.
Paul and Robert, your lineup includes T.E. Lawrence, Kelvin Mackenzie, Richard Desmond, and Wilson, Keppel and Betty.
Well, the only thing I know is that Richard Desmond, who owns the Sunday Express, gave a lot of money last year to German charities.
Did he?
It doesn't make it less amusing that he danced around the Telegraph,
I thought it was very funny.
singing Deutschland über alles and calling everyone Nazis.
No. Is that why it's the odd one out?
I think it's... T.E. Lawrence is obviously Lawrence of Arabia, so at one point he disguised himself in Arab dress, didn't he?
Yeah.
Right? That's my film. Well, in real life, which was based on him film, you know, based on his life.
Because actually he was a corporal in the
I think it was
RAF.
real life first, and then it...
No,
Yeah.
real life film.
Because they did the film first, he thought that's a good idea, and then he went and did it. Wilson, Keppel and Betty, those two men used to disguise themselves as Egyptians to do the sand dance act, so there's a link
There's
between
another-
those two.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Sand.
what... Sand, yeah.
Sand.
So I'm suggesting that Kelvin
Kelvin.
Mackenzie has probably disguised himself as an Arab because Richard Desmond...
Why probably? Why should he?
I'll tell you what, let's play a game.
Well,
I'll finish a sentence, Robert, and you can shut up. Robert, shut up!
No!
I think Desmond's got one. Yes.
No!
I think Desmond...
No!
He looks upset, Robert. Put your
I
arm
know.
around him, he might
Oh,
cry.
What do you think is the answer?
Desmond.
I think Desmond's the odd one out because he pretended to be German, all the others pretended to be Arabs.
Is the right answer.
Yeah.